Neurodivergent children and teens often experience more meltdowns than their neurotypical counterparts. Their nervous system is often more sensitive to the environment and to the demands that are placed on them. So in this video, I will discuss what a meltdown is and what are the things that we can do to minimize them. I will refer to the concepts of arousal and self-regulation. If you're not familiar with this framework, please check my last two videos on this topic. This is a topic that I love talking about. So if this is of interest to you, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So what is a meltdown? Isn't it the same as a tantrum? Well, both words tend to be used interchangeably, which is a big problem because they're very different from each other. So for the sake of clarity, I will define both, but this video will only focus on meltdowns. Tantrums happen usually when the child is not able to get what they want. They tend to happen more with toddlers and preschoolers because they haven't learned yet how to regulate their emotions and they don't have enough language to express the emotions. So when they're flooded with those big emotions, it just completely takes over and we have a tantrum. So a tantrum will usually end when the child gets what they want or when they realize that they're not going to get what they want no matter how hard they tantrum. So a quick tip about tantrums. If you give your child what they want when they're having a tantrum in order to end the tantrum, you're teaching them tantruming is a very effective strategy to get what they want, which is a very slippery slope. So now on to meltdowns. Well, meltdowns usually happen when the brain experiences a sensory overload, which happens when neurodivergent kids and teens have a hard time regulating the emotions. So in that process, whenever they're in a situation that is stressful, their arousal level may keep on increasing and it reaches a point where they can no longer cope and they go into a full meltdown. Reducing the amount of sensory input that the child is subjected to, or by getting worn out until their nervous system can reset. So you can see that meltdowns are very different from tantrums. And if they're triggered by a sensory overload, this is really nothing that the child has control over. They don't understand what's happening. And if a meltdown is handled with the wrong approach, it can really lead to worse problems, worse behavior problems. It can lead to traumatic experiences. It can lead to delays for the child to learn how to cope and how to learn to self-regulate. It's going to be very stressful for the parents and for the child. So this can be a very confusing topic for parents of neurodivergent kids and teens. So how to minimize meltdowns? Well, the first step is to become as familiar as you can with the framework of arousal and self-regulation. So if you're not, please watch the last two videos that I recorded. There's a lot of good information in there that should help you. The next step is to learn about your child's triggers. Learn about what dysregulates them. What kind of situations are more difficult for them? Is it when they have to transition from one situation to another, one activity to another? Is it when there's a crowded environment or noisy environment? Is it when they perceive that they have failed? Or, regardless of the situation, just become really familiar with those triggers. And after that, you really want to, whenever possible, to anticipate situations that may be stressful to your child or to your teen. So it's not always possible, but when you identify one of those situations, you want to prepare your child as best as you can ahead of that stressful situation. Basically, we don't want them to walk into a stressful situation when their arousal level is already up to the roof and they're getting close to a meltdown. So what kind of activities could help them be as calm as possible prior to that stressful activity? For some children, it could be walking to school, or it could be engaging in some kind of physical activity right before school so that they're a little bit better off coping with the stress of being in school. Or what kind of items can you or your child bring during a situation that's going to be more difficult? It could be their favorite hoodie. It could be their favorite music. It could be some snacks. It could be some fidget toys. Depending on the age of your child or their preferences, look for items basically that will provide them with some comfort, that may help them focus on something else and give them a little bit of distraction from the stressful situation, and may help them cope better. The final step is involve your child as much as possible in this planning process. The ultimate goal is not for you to keep planning and figuring out how to best support your child. You want them to learn how to self-regulate. You want them to start connecting the dots with which situations are going to be stressful, why they're stressful, and what they could try. And if they've tried something, how did it work and what they learned from that. So that whole process is really, really important in order to help the child learn from the experience. And now, this is something that can only be done when the child is regulated. So pick your timing. Don't do it when the child is in full meltdown. But once they've recovered, once they're calm, timing is right, then these are great discussions to have and to help your child really learn from the experience. This is it for this video. I hope you will find it helpful. The next video will be on how to manage a meltdown when it happens, when you've tried everything you could to prevent it and it's still happening. In the meantime, be well, and thank you for watching.